This clip you're about to watch is from one of our design and chat sessions in our EditorX Discord community. With that being said, if you want to learn how to use EditorX, learn how to design better your freelance and or business, these are all things that we talk about in our design and chat sessions on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. EST each and every week. So if you're interested in getting your questions answered on any of those spectrums, trying to be a better designer, trying to be a better EditorXer, on top of that being a better freelancer and business owner, definitely come and hang out with hundreds of creatives, designers, and developers like yourself to do some and learn some amazing things. We also have challenges every month that I, myself, and many other of the other creative experts in the community check out, give feedback on, and really just help you improve your skill set. So if that sounds of interest to you, links down in the description. Join us and learn a little bit more about the community, and hope to see you there. With that being said, let's get into what we talked about in this segment of Design and Chat.
So the first thing that you're going to want to do is in dev mode, turn that on, go inside of your collections here. The best way is to do it via the code, the site structure here. So you have to enable dev mode for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop me anytime you want. What you're going to do is you're going to create a dynamic page through the Wix Stores API system. In order to do that, you'll physically click the data set, go into stores, and then in the products data set, open this up and create a blank dynamic page. And what that'll do is it'll generate a store page dynamic, page for you and a slug page. This is important because the problem that you were having was like, if I create my own dynamic page, how do I link that specific product to its own cart essentially, right? This system will do that for you. So you're gonna have an all page and a slug page. The all page, when you open this up here, all I did was dropped in a composition. Again, you're gonna want to build out your site however the heck you want. So, and then I created a repeater. And this repeater, all it has in each item is just an image and a title. And I'm linking that to a data set that I bring in. So we're going to press plus here. And remember, you have to have dev mode on or else this will not appear. So you drag in a data set and then you're going to choose your products data set from your stores collections. You see here, right? I'm going to delete this for now. But yeah, that's all I did. In this situation, I only allowed for 4 items to display because I didn't want 300 of them to display here and be weird. So I just set in 4 just so it looks nice. Right? Then when I click into the repeater, all I'm going to do is fill out the text using the store's product, in this case its name, and you'll see all of the content from your store collections will appear here. So the system already knows what you're trying to refer to. So just keep that in mind, it's all there. And if it's not there, then you probably did something wrong. And when it comes to the actual button, so what I typically do with my sites is on my repeater, I don't just have a little button sliver down here that you have to physically click in. I make the button the entire title, the entire item itself. And then I expand it all the way to using both sections. That way when I hover over it, over anywhere here, I get that little hand thingy showing up, right? So for the button, same thing, you're gonna do the data hook. And when you do the data hook, you're going to say, this connects to my data set, the stores one, and the product slug. It's actually called slug, right? And this will actually reference itself into this title page. In the product slug page, you'll see that just like any other dynamic page, you'll get a list of all the products you have, right? And this is me just importing a Wix store, meaning if I literally click store and then I added a store, it just auto generates a bunch of fake stuff for you, right? It's literally the same crap. So that's all that is. So now in the actual slug page, you're gonna see all I did was I dragged in a couple of text fields. I put it in a container. We don't use stacks ever, and we got the title, a description, a quantity, which is just gonna be of type input. And remember, you have to have dev mode on in order for some of this stuff to appear. Drag in an input field, like so. And then in the settings, you're going to want to go and of type, set it to a number. This is important because it needs to know, it needs to have a number, so that way it's not just some kind of weird string. They don't have to type it in. They could just press up or down on it. And you could set a min value of 1 or something. So that way it starts that way. I'm going to go ahead and in the settings section, which is here, like set the the placeholder as 1. That's all that happens there. Then add cart, just add a button. I called mine button add to cart. I added some like status text, so that way like when you click on it, you can see something reacting and knowing that the system is like handling your purchase. Then all you got to do is, again, use the hook, the product item. This will be auto generated by the slug field, so it exists. And you're gonna just say, I want the name of my product to be there. Same thing with description. I want the what's it called? The description of my product to be there. Well, actually, I'm not doing it this way. There's a gotcha. I gotta show you guys the gotcha for this one. So I'm not going to use the data hook for this because the data set for your products are using a rich text. So the design will kind of freak out the system. And you guys are familiar with rich text, right? The differences between regular text field and rich text? No? Okay. So rich text allows for like bullet points, hyperlinks. Essentially, it'll format your entire text field using something that you want to be like normally in a text field, you just want to have like a string of characters, right? Just like, something, simple. Like my name is Ari, or this is a product description. But if you wanted to have like something unique, I'm going to show you guys, gift apply to show you exactly what it would look like. Like if I was to click this and I want some kind of like unique formatting like this, where there's bullet points and like some of these things or have a hyperlink. See on the bottom says like there's a little hyperlink. You can change the fonts out. That's a rich text. It enables you to have some kind of custom text field and only have it take up one box of content. That's all.
Yeah. Rich text basically formats it from pure text into a Word document where you can actually do stuff with it.
Correct, Mundo.
Yeah.
That sounds like Simon. I believe it's Simon, right?
Yeah,
It is very much Simon.
So anyway, it's a gotcha. So just keep that in mind. You're going to want to update this in code, and I'll show you how to do that. Of course, enter the input field, and the add to cart doesn't have any data hooks or anything like that. For your image, definitely go ahead and hook it into your product's main media image, which is the first one that appears. If you want to use a gallery, just make sure you change this to a gallery. That's it. And inside the code, it's really simple. We're going to import the cart from Wix Stores API and also a Wix location. And the reason why we're going to do this is because, one, we're going to update your cart. But number two, we're going to want to essentially like forward you to a URL, and the URL will be the product items cart. That's all. So it's real simple stuff. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If something's not making any sense, let me know. I tried to make the code as like simple as possible. And I even added some console logs so you can see what exactly is happening.
Okay, it was a little fast, but I would love to. Can you break it back? Bring it down to, because this whole page was custom. Yes.
This is a custom page.
All right. So can you take us through how you started with just making the custom page? Because most people will be like, okay, well, I get the dynamic. I get one page when I get to edit like one page when I bring in when you add the store to the Wix website, whatever. You get that one page. How did you create the new page, and how did you walk us through? Okay, you're now making a new page. You're turning on developers mode. You're now getting access to these other things so that now you can create your custom product page, and then dive into slugs. Like kind of break it down like that.
Gotcha. No problem. Sorry about that. I kind of assumed everyone had that knowledge of being able to create the blank stuff, but I'll go ahead and do it. I'm going to create a blank editor X template here. So this is the first step. Every time I open this guy's always looking at me like I'm some kind of he's like just disappointed in me, like both of them look very disappointed in me all the time. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do better. So first thing we're gonna do, once we have this open, you need to enable the Wix stores into your site. So really simple, click the plus button, scroll down to where it says store, add it to your site. Now this will go and add its own pages, its own content. It'll populate a products and categories for you with like dummy information, just so you kind of get a good idea of like what you need just to get started. So Wix will do this automatically, and it'll also create these pages. Do not delete these pages ever. if you delete these pages, it'll remove all of this app stuff for like in your site. So you must keep this. What we're not going to do is use any of this stuff because you can't really design it that well. And this is the problem everyone has. Like, well, I don't like the way this looks. And creating your own is kind of like a Velo. You have to do Velo to create all your other stuff. So this is what happens. It'll just generate all this stuff for you. Inside of dev mode, you're going to turn this on. We're going to go to your databases, and you'll see all the collections. Right now, we don't have anything. But what Wix does provide with you is all the collections that it created, which houses all the information that like denotes what a product would be, images, categories, what have you. Drop down your stores, and you'll see the products data set. The products data set, if we open it up, I'm sure everyone's kind of seen this, right? Am I safe to assume that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, it has all like the ribbons, the discounts, like it just has all this stuff built in. You can change your colors, and we can even attach all that stuff as well. Night Owl, like this will all be available. What we're gonna do is we're gonna select this products data set because I want. And it'll create the page for you. See? Created the slug page for you. And see how it automatically populated the current item data set?
Alright.
So like if I was to plus quick add image and drag it in here, if I hook this into the data set that exists on this page, you'll see that it's showing you all the content that comes from having this unique items slug, which is the first product. You see how there's like 10 of them? Product 10, I click that, and I change the image to manage media. You'll see that it's these like hoop earrings. So it knows which product you're talking about because this is an auto-generated dynamic title page regarding your slug. Does that make sense? And that's all I did. So once like we design our store, oh, it's this big awesome place with like, you know, text everywhere and it's sticky or whatever. Once we get to that part, then in the code, we're going to obviously like anything that we're going to modify via code, we're going to want to name it properly, like text description, input quantity, button, add to cart. This one's called text status, right? Just things that we know that we're not actually using the hook on. Like if we're going to manually enter it in, we have to know what it's called. So that way, like, you know, we just have a good frame of reference when we see all this nasty code everywhere. So all that's happening is I create a product before the onReady, and I check if my dynamic data set isn't onReady here, this one. And this is important because we want to make sure everything is loaded first before we start manipulating data. There are some cases where this information hasn't loaded in, and if I just like click add cart quickly, all this stuff would just be like dummy weird data. So we want to always make sure that we're using onReady. Once it's done, then we can get the current item and pass it in as a product. We can set this text field to the product's description. This text field here, text description. And so yeah, just the product's description, pass it in. Start with the input quantity being 1 because we don't ever want to sell 0 products. This is just like a little, you know, quantity dot value equals 1. And then once that's done, we'll log out just for ourselves to see that it's working, the product in question. And this is a little on-click event handler. We're going to say if the button for on add to cart has been enabled or a button buy now on click, we're going to create a function that handles that. And the function is really simple. It's not that long, all things considered. Don't worry about the consoles. There's a lot of console logs, but I just want to show as a tutorial, like what's happening step by step. So that way people are like, oh, okay, I get it. It's calling the callback function. It's going to set the amount of time that it takes. It's going to set how many products we have, blah, blah, blah. We're going to make sure that any error messages are hidden. And the first thing we're going to check is if they press the add cart button, right? Because we're calling it right here on click add cart, call this function. If the quantity that's in there is a valid entry and it's greater than 0, or if it's not valid and it's not greater than 0, we're going to show this like error, like, hey, you messed up something, right? Like that's all. And then we'll return out of the function. Otherwise, we'll show that the text status is like, hey, we're adding to your cart. We'll create a little like structure where you can pass in the product's ID and the quantity based on the input value. All we're taking in is the value from the quantity, casting it as a number, and setting the quantity field. So this is the thing that Alana was like not able to do. She didn't know how to like adjust the quantity and actually set it into the product cart page. That's all it is. It's just literally one line of code that I messed up. And then we'll console log. We'll say, hey, we're adding to the cart. Then we'll do the Wix API cart function, add that product that we just created, and then we'll send them to the cart page where they can go and take a look at what they have. And this is that Wix location to cart page.
Just to like tie that up in a summary for like basic peeps, not a little bit less technical. Essentially, that whole process is from the beginning. Cause and first off, I'm recording this for like the one thing where like you had to add all those titles and things. Like that's the reason why you have to have dev mode on, so you can give those particular elements a
unique name
essentially, and a unique name, and then you're basically telling EditorX, hey, this page that we have made, please pull in our product data. And also when certain elements are clicked, specifically this button, we are setting these particular actions to happen, but also we want to make sure that when we are, like for example, like the reason you have the quality or the quantity line of code in there is to make sure that it's above 0, it's at least at 1, and you're just setting parameters. So you have your dynamic page, you're setting title, or I don't know the technical term, but you're giving IDs to these elements, pulling in your product data, and so that making sure that the quantity starts at 1, and then when the add to cart button happens, you are adding that quantity to the cart and sending the user to the cart. So in layman's terms, that is what everything that RA just did in the technical side.
That's exactly right. The only limitation is you cannot create your own cart page, no matter what you do. This is handled through Wix, and this is for security reasons. I can't create my own stuff because you're going to start being able to put in all of your credit card information and stuff in here. So like the whole checkout process, that is done through Wix, and it's using the standard elements that they have here, these little like Wix widgets. But yeah, you can see everything's working as expected. If I, and remember this is tied to the Wix cart. So as I start removing things, you'll see it's updating in real time. I don't have to do it. There's no code that I have to do that. It's all automatic. Because again, this whole thing is connected to its own elements here. But yeah, that's all that's happening. So yeah, Night Owl, basically you'll be able to do whatever you want with your store so long as you see, like I went past 1 million. It gave me an error, but I still typed it in there. And I was able to add that to the cart, you see, because it's doing all this other error checking. So we always want to just make sure like we're checking against idiots rather than Wix checking. Like it's just good practice to make sure you're the one doing it rather than letting this do it.
How did you? How does the all products page work? Like where you get an overview of everything?
So yeah, you go back once again to what is it? Here, databases. Go back here. You'll create a new products blank page, or I think it was just a blank page. And in this case, I called it all. So let's go here. So this one is still a slug, but you can go into your settings. So if I was to, I don't want to delete this, but you physically go in here, and I probably should have wrote that in also. Get rid of that, and then you get the check mark, and that turns to all. So you're basically getting rid of...
That showcases all products.
Yeah, that showcases everything once you get rid of the extra path that was there.
I see. That's way too complicated, right? Or
well, I don't know everyone's. I guess this is why Wix exists in the first place, like to give you the store stuff built in, and that way like it's not complicated.
Yeah, I feel like also there's probably like that's one way, and I feel like when you did that, like it made me, because I was like, oh well, if for example, like after you did, just tell us if I'm wrong, you could also go about making your dynamic store pages, right? And then couldn't you just create basically, it doesn't even have to be a dynamic page essentially. You could if you wanted to have it a little bit, like this is what we were talking about. This is not what's marketed by EditorX, but it's a smart way of very easily making sure that all of those products in your collection show up on that page. You have the ability to pull those things in, but you could also, let's say if you have dynamic products and you just want to create a regular page and design it how you want, but also you make sure those buttons just go to those slugged products. That's another alternative, right?
Yeah, you could do whatever you want. All this stuff is here. Like you can go to the product item here and then you can just add in your own. Like let me show you, if I set the number back to default, it'll start showing everything that existed. Like you can do whatever you want if you know what the hell you're doing in Wix. Like there's a lot of workarounds. It's not, a lot of people complain about Wix, like, oh, I can't do what I want, but really you can. You just kind of have to hack your way around it, and then you can force it to do what you want, the operations that you want.
Yeah, like I think this is smart if you definitely need a dynamic thing, but I was thinking about, what's her name? Alana, where she was like, I only have 3 products. I mean, the smart way would do exactly what you did, but my ass, the lazy one, would be like, oh, I'm just going to make a regular page. I'm going to design it. It's probably not going to be hooked up to the manager at all, but I'm going to have my images in, I'm going to just have like 3 images, have my text, whatever. Each image would, or each one of those product description thingies would be in its own container. I'd put a button on top of it and it would just send them directly to whatever. And the only reason I would do that is because I can control the design probably a little bit better that way. It's probably a lot. You can do it both ways, but I would get where I would mess up because I am not as technically inclined with all the product manager stuff. I just feel like getting this slug, comparing it with like a very simple container element is like the layman's way of being like, okay, I did the first part that Ari said. I made my slug page. Cool. Let me just attach it to another element to just send them there. I feel like that's the, because when you did the one, it's not super complex, but that one piece, like I feel like somebody who's new to EditorX doing that second piece, they might, they'll be able to learn to do it. And I'm excited to put this thing together and even just try this. But yeah, just more options, the better. So thank you, Ari.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very informative.
That was lit. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like I knew none of that existed.
I don't think anyone does. I've never seen anyone really do it that way before.
I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to learn more about our Discord or how you can join in our 1 p.m. EST design and chat sessions, go down to the link in the description to check that out, or you can go to editorx.tv to learn more. With that said, I hope to see you in our Discord, and until then, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hope to see you soon. Peace.